Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today, well, today is Hump Day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
That's right, folks. Today is Hump Day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as we always like to say, the fun is all in the trying. And we're going to be having a good time here today, checking it out. Anyway, Mike's not going to be able to join us today. Unfortunately, work's got him working. You know, gotta love it. Can't come against a dude when he is trying to get his work groove on. He's trying to do his capitalist thing. Capitalist, free marketist, however you wish to refer to it. The point is, he's trying to get them dollar bills, y'all. So can't get mad at him. Very much appreciate him and all that he does, even though he's not here with us at the moment. But you're here. I'm here. Let's talk. All you got to do is chime in via the comments. If you're watching us, once again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, all y'all in the middle, Central, and Mountain, y'all know the time zones in between. If y'all are watching us live, go ahead and comment. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Rumble. Rumble is the preferred spot for the live stream. Please go there. Check us out. And let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you think about the content. Maybe you have ideas for stuff you want to have us talk about. Let us know. The only way we know is if you tell us. So go ahead and do that. And remember, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. All right, now before we get into today's content and start, talking about the news and all that fun stuff, we got to do that thing. You know what that thing is, right? That thing is paying the bills. How do you pay the bills? You acknowledge your sponsors. So let's do that, shall we? All right, we're going to start off with Hitman Industries. If you are looking to do a rebuild of your current rifle, or maybe you're just looking to do a brand new build, or maybe just rebarrel your current firearm, trust me, no better place to go than hitmanindustries.net. There you can find rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you, including Glock barrels. And if you are a first responder and it's your first time buying from them, you're going to get a discount. So check them out today. Once again, hitmanindustries.net. And then we've got the California Republican Assembly, working to help elect conservatives all throughout the state of California, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Folks, you need to check them out no matter where you are in the country, because here's the deal. The current Republican majority we have right now only exists because there were 5 seats in California that Californians won that weren't supposed to be won. You want to know who helped win those seats? The California Republican Assembly. So go to cragop.org. That's cragop.org. Check them out and become a member today. Then we've got Hawg Holsters, HAWG holsters.com. The place for the best in concealed carry tactical holsters. No matter what your firearm, no matter what your setup is, no matter what kind of light you have, no matter what kind of optic you have, trust me, they have a holster that will work for you. Just go to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get a discount on your Hawg holster today. And then finally, it's that time. I know probably you're doing a lot of camping. Probably if you're across the country right now dealing with this heat wave, I know you need some hot weather gear, some hot weather outdoor gear. Let me tell you something. There is no better place to go and get all of your tactical gear than uscombatgear.com. They've got a huge selection. They've got excellent competitive pricing, fast shipping. They're veteran owned and operated. Trust me, you need to check them out today. It's the place where you can get all things tactical except the gun. It's at uscombatgear.com. All right, today we're going to talk about California. At least we're going to start off talking about California. And part of the reason why we talk about California as well, because I'm in California. As I like to tell you, I'm in the belly of the beast. I am behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. For those of you who don't know, I'm referring to the Sierra mountain range, because when you get to the other side of the Sierras, you're in California. But the reality is that California is the birthplace of just about every really bad liberal idea, as if there was a good liberal idea. Anyway, that's where we're at. And so when we start talking about ideas, when you start hearing about things, when you in Nevada or in Oregon or in Washington or Texas or in Arizona, when you start hearing about these really, really bad ideas, they originate right here in California. It is the incubator, the birthplace, the seventh circle of hell when it comes to liberal ideas. They all come from here. And quite frankly, they're pretty much, I'm trying to think of a good idea, a good liberal idea that has come from California. And I honestly can't think of one. I'm trying. I really am trying. I'm trying to think of one really good idea, liberal idea that's come from California. Well, let's see. When it comes to immigration, we're talking about bad ideas. One of the things that has started in the state of California, first of all, California, one of the ideas that started in California that's really, really bad is the sanctuary city movement, right? The sanctuary state movement. California is a sanctuary state for those of you who do not know. And it is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? It basically has made it so that California is a place that basically attracts illegal immigrants, right? We have free healthcare. We have free education. If you commit a crime, and by the way, you'll be let out because we're also kind of pushing in many of our cities no bail, and we have DAs who are just letting people out. But worse upon it is, no matter the seriousness of the crime that you commit, if you are released, no one will tell ICE that you have been released. Yeah, that's right. Well, here in the state of California, we have had to deal with the issue of we got a lot of illegal immigrants here. And so in California, they want to make it so that they have the ability to purchase homes. And so the idea that they have is they want to basically give free home loans, or 100, let me clarify, 100, I'm sorry, and I have this wrong on here. I have 15K home loans. I am sorry because I put that amount. That amount is 100%, that's 100% wrong. It's actually $150,000 a loan that they want to make available, to illegal immigrants. And I'm going to put the story over here because I opened it on the wrong window. There we go. All right, here's the story. So Senate basically passed a bill to give home loan down payments to illegal immigrants. It says here, the Senate passed 23-11 on Tuesday what would help pay for home down payments for illegal immigrants in California, with the newly passed bill going to Governor Gavin Newsom's desk for either final approval or veto. Assembly Bill 1840, authored by Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula, would expand eligibility of the California Dream for All program to be renamed under the bill to the Home Purchase Assistance Program, and remove any disqualifications based on an applicant's immigration status. If approved, illegal immigrants can enter a lottery system under the program that gives 20% in down payment assistance up to $150,000. Up to $150,000. This year, out of 18,000 people who applied for the California Dream for All program, only 1,700 were chosen. The bill would greatly expand the number of applicants due to the California Dream program, now targeting low-income first-time home buyers. In addition, not all illegal immigrants would qualify for the program under AB 1840. Only those with taxpayer ID numbers or Social Security numbers, I guess that's whether they're theirs or not, could apply. According to the language in the bill, this bill would specify that an applicant who meets all other requirements for the loan under the program, who is otherwise eligible under applicable federal and state law shall not be disqualified solely based on the applicant's immigration status. Now, let's just put this in context. California is a state that this year faced around a $90 billion deficit. All right. And it's getting worse because taxpayers, and when I say taxpayers, I mean those who earn decent incomes, those who own businesses, they're leaving the state of California in droves. All right. People are leaving the state of California. High-paying jobs are leaving the state of California. And our budget deficit is only going to get worse, once again, here in the Golden State. But the interesting thing is, once again, this is a state that's losing money. It's losing people. And yet we have people now who are here who are taxpayers who can't afford to buy a home. Now, it's in part because of all the regulations that they have put in place that has made it not very profitable for people to be able to purchase homes, right? There's those. And then there are folks who, how do I want to put this? Then there's issues relating to all of the regulation. Once again, regulation that has pushed up the cost. In the state of California, it's 84. Well, last I checked, and this was several years ago, I'm willing to bet it's over $100K now. But last I checked, because these are the numbers that I had, $84,000 between taxes, fees, and regulations before you even break ground on a piece of single-family housing, single-family housing unit in the state of California. If you want to know why it cost like $800,000 in Los Angeles to build a tiny home, that's what it costs per tiny home, this is the reason why. So they don't do anything to address that. What they do is they say, we're going to give out money. We're going to hand out money. And then that money is then going to go to help people buy homes. I'll just say this again. Anyone who understands the basics of supply and demand, you know that as soon as you do that, all you do is drive up the cost of homes. When you lower the cost, when you make it easier, when you make the entry point easier, there's no reason to reduce the price. There's absolutely no reason to reduce the price. All you do is you push the price up. In this case, could be somewhere around $150,000. Although, from what they've seen so far, from what they've had so far, not a whole lot of people have partaken, have been eligible to partake, and that's because this is all show. Once again, it's a lottery system. Most people will not be able to take advantage of it. But it's the worst part is it acts as an incentive because now you see people saying, well, if you're an illegal immigrant, if you entered the country illegally, you can now get a down payment on a home. That information gets out to Venezuela. It gets out to China. It gets out to South Africa. It gets out to Nigeria and Jamaica and Haiti and Great Britain and all of these places, right? It gets out to all of these places, and then the next thing you know, they're like, well, I need to go to California. Whether or not I have income, whether or not I'm in the country legitimately, whether or not I have the ability to earn a job, I need to go to the place where they're going to give me free healthcare. I need to go to the place where they're going to give me free education. I need to go to the place where they're going to give me down payment assistance. I need to go to the place where if I commit a crime, they're just going to let me out on the streets and not report me to ICE. What these folks don't realize is that they're creating an incentive. And their number one marketing tool are the people who are already here. They're reaching back to the folks that they know back home, and they're telling them, come on in. You need to come here. All you got to do is walk across the border. Tell them you want to go to California. California is the place you want to be. And they'll load you on a bus and take you to Beverly. I know I just dated myself, didn't I? Beverly Hillbillies, check it out. They were the illegal immigrants before illegal immigrants. No, I'm sorry, I'm just being funny. That was racially insensitive. I apologize. But yeah, Beverly Hillbillies. That's pretty much what it is. Anyway, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Razmik. Dude, I want to apologize because I'm probably mispronouncing your name. But you probably don't remember that I remember where we met. We actually met at an airport. I was on my way to SHOT Show in Las Vegas. I was going to SHOT, and we had a chance to meet. Dude owns anyway, really good dude. I don't want to put his business out on the streets. Razmik, if you don't mind me telling folks what you do for a living, I'll let them know. But really good man, supporter of the Second Amendment, supporter of conservative values. Been following the program and myself for quite a while, but I wanted to make sure, since I saw you were on, I wanted to make sure to give you a shout out. Oh, he's in Atlanta. Here we go. He owns a company. It's called Accuracy Firearms in Atlanta. So Accuracy Firearms, just www.accuracyfirearms.com. Once again, very, very good man. Very good person. Please reach out, support him as he supports the program and supports America. Yes, that's right. We met at the airport in I don't remember if we were in Vegas or if we were in Sacramento. But anyway, good man. Oh, in the Atlanta airport. I stand corrected. Okay. Well, I just remember we met at an airport, and I remember I was on my way to or from SHOT. Anyway, good stuff. Very much appreciate you, sir. Very much appreciate you. All right. Anyway, back to this bill. So the bill hasn't been signed by the governor yet, and I'm wondering actually if he's going to sign it, because he has all of a sudden taken a tank towards the right a little bit, not so much in his rhetoric, but in some of the things that he's doing. I think because, Gavin Mussolini is trying to position himself to run for president in 2028, because he pretty much knows that Kamala Harris is going to lose. He knows Kamala Harris is going to lose. And so he wants to not be seen as the governor who is the leader that created the liberal left-wing hellhole that is California. So now he's trying to save his reputation. So he's trying to do a little bit of reputation repair. But anyway, we shall see. And once again, that's $150,000. If you live in California, call your legislator or call the governor's office and encourage him to veto that particular piece of legislation. All right, let's move on to our next story. Kind of along the same lines in terms of dealing with illegal immigrants, but this is also a 2A issue. Now, I reported several months ago that there was a decision that came out that basically said that a judge, an Obama judge, mind you, said that, well, you know what? Those who are in the country illegally, you get a chance to exercise your right to keep and bear arms. You have a fundamental right to keep and bear arms. Now, I had to admit, I was kind of torn on it, because it's important to recognize this. Number one, the right to keep and bear arms is a constitutional right, and it comes from a fundamental right to self-defense. Now, people who live here legally have a right to self-defense. Those who are here illegally, well, you don't necessarily have a right. You don't get the same rights. I hate to say this. You get the same fundamental human rights, but you don't get the same constitutional rights, because you being here is because, well, you're here because you were here illegally. You came here illegally. You came here legally, and you overstayed your visa, and therefore you are now here illegally. Anyway, all that having been said, I was kind of torn about that, because once again, I do believe in the fundamental human rights are available to all people. But the right to keep and bear arms, that's a constitutional. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, evidently an appellate court happens to agree that you don't get the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. And this is a report coming out of Fox News. It says illegal immigrants do not have gun rights protected by the Second Amendment, says a federal appeals court. Illegal immigrants do not have the right to bear arms under the Second Amendment, a federal appeals court in New Orleans has ruled, rejecting arguments by a Mexican man who was convicted of illegally possessing a handgun and argued that the ban was unconstitutional. The three-judge panel of the New Orleans-based Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on Tuesday that the federal prohibitions on illegal immigrants owning firearms was lawful, and Second Amendment rights do not apply to those who have entered the country illegally. The ruling came in an appeal by Jose Paz Medina Cantu, who had been arrested by Border Patrol agents in Texas in 2022 and charged with illegally possessing a handgun and unlawfully entering the country after being deported. Medina Cantu pled guilty and was sentenced to at least a year to 15 months in prison, but he preserved the right to argue on appeal that the gun charge violated his right to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment. His lawyer based their argument on the 2022 landmark New York Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin decision by the Supreme Court's 6-3 conservative majority that established a new standard to determine whether a law violates the Second Amendment. The Bruin ruling required gun regulations to be, quote, consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearms regulation, end quote. And the three-judge panel said the Supreme Court's recent rulings on gun rights did not unequivocally abrogate our precedent that the plain text of the Second Amendment does not encompass illegal aliens. Anyway, I think that makes sense. I mean, when you talk about, once again, we're talking about protection of rights, we're talking about protecting the people who are here legally. And I think when you look at all the constitutional rights, most of them basically, they apply to people who are here legally. If you're not here legally, because the foundation or the premise of how you got here or that you're here is not legal, well, then, if you were doing something that's illegal, if you were to actually be arrested for what you did, you lose a lot of rights. You don't get the right to keep and bear arms when you get arrested. They confiscate or you at least temporarily lose those rights. Anyway, in this case, you're commission of a crime. If you are on trial if you've been accused of a felony, you lose your rights. You don't get to possess or own or possess a gun. If you are merely accused, for example, in a restraining order, you lose your rights. So if you've entered the country illegally, well, first of all, you're kind of giving up a right. You're losing a right that you never had because you never lived here. So it's not like you're losing a right. You just don't get access to a right that belongs to those who are already here. Anyway, I support the ruling. I, once again, still believe in a fundamental human right to self-defense. But, I don't know. This is one of those this is one of when they say it's complicated, I think this falls under it's complicated, but I'm going to err on the side of, come here legally and you'll be all right. Won't be a problem if you actually come here legally. Anyway, moving along from news on illegal immigration, Harris Waltz will be doing their first interview, and they'll be doing it on CNN. Now, you've probably already heard this before, but here's what gets me. So, dude has decided, they've decided, and by the way, just so you know, as of the recording, as of this show broadcasting, it's been 38 days since Kamala Harris became the nominee, since Joe Biden stepped down and she became the de facto nominee. It's been over 2 months because the last interview she did was June 24th was the last sit-down interview she's done. She's answered a grand total of 2 questions from reporters. One was, when is she going to do an interview? And she said by the end of this month, but evidently, anyway, she said by the end of the month, and it looks like she's going to push it all the way to the end of the month. And she didn't say she was going to be joined by her vice president. But anyway, so she said she'd do one by the end of the month, and it looks like she might make that. She should make that. And the other question was about how she was going to pay for her economic plan. And y'all might recall the word salad that commenced from there. Well, needless to say, there are a whole lot of people talking about about this and about the fact that, well, there's a lot of people who have issues with the fact that she's not just doing it with CNN, that she's doing it with, that she's going to be doing it with her vice president. Here's your thing over at News Nation where they're talking about it.
You did bring up that interview, so I do want to talk about that, Scott. This question for you. So now we know Kamala Harris is sitting down for an interview, but she's going to be joined by Tim Walz. So, there is speculation on she's being joined by him because she may have a gaffe. She may misspeak. There's also the thought of, well, why would she give an interview up until this point? Because polls have been on her side. But there is this criticism about her being joined by Tim Walz and, doing this as a joint interview. Is her running mate going to help or hurt her tomorrow?
Well, we're building this campaign, the Democrats have, for the last 40 days or so. And to my good friend Sean Spicer, are you bragging or complaining about a candidate wanting it both ways? Seems pretty smart strategy to me. But in regard to the interview, interview.
I'll give Scott credit. It's great strategy. He's right on that. There's no question about it.
But in regard to the interview, real quick, I think we're introducing, the idea is to reintroduce Kamala Harris, but keep introducing Tim Walz as a team, if you will. Again, it's only been 40 days. We're building this political ship on the run here. All you need is one more vote than the next guy. And we're on our time frame. The Dems are. They're not on media's time frame.
But you don't think in any way, Scott, that can be seen as a weakness for her to be joined by her running mate versus just sitting down one-on-one with Dana Bash?
Well, I think I anticipate her sitting down one-on-one with Dana Bash at some point doing the interview that's going to run, and at some point Tim Walz is going to be doing a joint interview with her. But that's not a weakness at all. In fact, that's a strength, showing that my number two has plenty to say, and we're a partnership, and that we are moving forward together. So I don't see that as a weakness at all.
Oh, yeah, that's
Nicole,
one way to look at it. Go ahead, Sean.
These guys love to embrace pronouns. So let's be honest what happened. She said that she would do an interview, and now it's they that are doing the interview. She can't handle doing this on her own. She wants to be commander-in-chief. It's CNN, for God's sakes. This isn't going to be tough. This is patty cake. Give me a break. If she can't handle an interview on her own, and with all due respect to Scott, because I love him to death, I gave him credit for the strategy. And I will stand by that. But we're 60 days out from an election, and she's talking about, we'll get around to it. This is pathetic.
Right, 60 days out from the election, right? 2 months out from the election, and she's talking about, we'll get around to doing an interview. Now, here's the other thing you got to note. Even the folks over at CNN are questioning the validity of her doing this.
Is the line now going to be, well, why isn't she doing it by herself?
Yeah, I do think people are going to bring that up. Look, I have great confidence in Dana and CNN to do this. I think it's incredibly weak sauce to show up with your running mate. The fact that they don't have enough confidence in her to let her sit herself, the actual top of the ticket, and do a single interview. In fact, I think the hand-wringing and the gyrations over this over the last month show a troubling lack of confidence in her political ability, which also makes you wonder as a voter, well, what kind of president would you be if this kind of a small-time decision, can we do an interview or not, what does that look like for your decision-making process, so on? So, yes, I think Republicans are going to think it's pretty weak to show up with effectively someone to take up half the time.
Well, and he made the point that he thinks that Republicans are going to show up pretty weak. Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure he's a Republican commentator, so he tends to be very critical of Kamala Harris, which, by the way, I want to say this. I want to give CNN some credit for at least having a real Republican, at least someone who's willing to criticize Democrats. That's not something that they had in the past, but that does seem to be something that they have now instituted in some of their panels. So you get a little bit of credit from me, CNN, for that one. But the reality is, folks just know. They know that she's weak. She is taking Tim Walz because they know that she is gaffe prone. And he's not a bad interview. He's a pretty good interview off the cuff. He handles being interviewed off the cuff pretty well. Now, the problem is that there's a reason why he hasn't been allowed to do interviews either. And that's because he really doesn't know. They're concerned, and this is from the campaign, They're concerned that he may say something that contradicts Kamala Harris's positions. Well, why would he do that if he knew Kamala Harris's positions? I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't know Kamala Harris's positions. That's right. The media doesn't know her positions. They claim to know. But all we've heard is from talking heads. We haven't heard from Kamala. We don't know because she hasn't said anything. We don't know because if you go to her website right now, there's zero policy on it. There's not even, we're going to fight for illegal immigrants or we're going to secure the border. There's not, we're going to raise taxes and or lower taxes for the middle class, or we're going to lower taxes for everybody. There's not, we're going to promote public education and get more funding for schools, or we're going to promote school choice. There's nothing. There's nothing but send us money. Joy and vibes, vibes and joy. Send us money. That's pretty much what's on the campaign website. Now, you would think if she was planning on running for president, well, she was already running for vice president, you would think she'd have some positions. It wouldn't be that hard. I am in no way in a position to run for president, but I'm willing to bet you I could put together some basic statements about what I believed on issues and get them up on a website 38 days after I became the nominee. Within 38 days. But see, they feel like they don't have to. And that's what it really comes down to. They honestly believe that they don't have to. And by the way, one other thing that I wanted to make sure to note, and this is kind of to give you an idea of how biased they are. Mind you, so this is Dana Bash. This is Dana Bash who's going to be doing the interview. This is an image of her. And at this moment, and I didn't want to bother playing the interview, she's basically doing the fact checking, reading the points from the Harris campaign, basically saying, well, no, she wasn't against the board. She talking about the board. She wasn't the border czar and she's not inflation. But see here, you see what she's talking about, right? You see just by the chyron, it says Republicans seek to tie Harris to border and inflation. Can you think about maybe just give me an idea of why they would want to do that? Maybe it's because she's been vice president for 3.5 years, and she was the border czar. She's been going around promoting Bidenomics. Bidenomics, that thing that's going so well. That thing that they're campaigning on, that thing that they love, while at the same time talking about how high prices are. And this other one I'll just share with you just on the strength. Just so you know that CNN is not alone in their sycophant relationship or love fest and denial of reality. This is Politico. They're quoting Vance. It says, Vance tries to tether Harris to Biden during Michigan rally. Now, once again, I will ask you, Gilbert Glenn Jr., is there a reason to tie her to Joe Biden? Bueller? Of course there is. That's because she happens to be his vice president, meaning she's in office now. So when people ask you questions about this stuff, and they say, well, wait, what's going on here? And they say, well, why are you questioning this? Well, because she's the current vice president. She's in charge of all these policies. But by the way, just so you know, even they knew that it was a bad idea to have this as their headline, because they changed the headline. Vance warns of China influence during Michigan rally. It's hilarious because they realized, yeah, that's kind of dumb. Even they realized how sycophantish and dumb their headline was. But anyway, makes for interesting news, makes for interesting headlines. Anyway, they're not interested in actually reporting the news, and I think we kind of know that, right? Right. Now, the big story, or one big story that we see that they're completely and utterly ignoring, is the fact that RFK, of the Kennedys, of the JFK Kennedys, of the Robert F. Kennedy family, of the Ted Kennedy family, of the Democratic liberal left-wing Kennedys, RFK Jr. has basically dropped out of the race and is now endorsing Donald Trump. And he said when he dropped out, he's like, "Look, I can't drop out everywhere. I'm not gonna have the resources to get to go to every place." He's like, in states where I know for a fact I'm not gonna make a difference. I'm not gonna bother pulling my name. But in swing states where it can make a difference, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try and remove my name from the ballot because I don't want to be a spoiler. And oh, by the way, I'm endorsing Donald Trump. Well, here's what's happening with that. The Democratic Party, right, or the Harris campaign, we'll say, is fighting to make sure that he cannot remove his name from the ballot. And the reason why is because as they saw it, he'll take votes away from Donald Trump, more votes from Donald Trump than he would from Kamala Harris. And as a result, they're letting him, right? They're letting him go ahead and they're forcing him to stay on the ballot. And that's what this report from Axios says. Michigan denies RFK Jr.'s escape from presidential ballot. Now, they say it has to do with deadlines and yada, 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 but it has nothing to do with deadlines. It has everything to do with the fact that they need to win Michigan, right? Because here's the deal. If it didn't have to do with that, then there's another independent candidate who is running. His name is Cornel West. And Cornel West, they're saying, they're basically fighting to keep him on the ballot. I'm sorry, off the ballot. They're fighting to get him off the ballot. Why? Because Cornel West will take 0 votes from Donald Trump. He will take 0 votes from Donald Trump. So they want him off the ballot because he's going to take votes from the other black candidate. You know who that is? Kamala Harris. Right. They don't want black folks to be able to vote for Cornel West. Now, I'm not advocating for Cornel West. Dude is a left-wing Marxist. He is a left-wing Marxist. So no, I'm not encouraging people to vote for him. But what I am saying is this. There are black people who are not going to vote for Trump, who are not going to vote for Kamala Harris, but will vote for Cornel West if he's on the ballot. And so Democrats are pushing to get a black man off the ballot, while at the same time fighting to keep a white man on the ballot. You know, these people who believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Doesn't sound very inclusive, does it? Doesn't sound very diverse. Although maybe it's that they believe they got their quota of black people. Maybe half a black person is enough for them. Maybe that's the comment. Maybe that's the takeaway. Half a black person on the ballot is all we need. You know what? Let me read this comment here before we get into doing our parting shots. I want to read this comment here. So we have one from Gilbert Glenn Jr. Yes, it is good. Did I get to watch your broadcast and post on my Facebook timeline? Yes. Keep up the good work. From Knoxville. He's watching from Knoxville. Thank you, Gilbert. And then we've got we got a cool little kitty on there too. Interesting. All right, and then we got great talking points coming to us from our good friend Patrick in Georgia, The Gun Foodie. Check out his website, The Gun Food. Check it out. You'll love it. Anyway, great ammo, great selection, great prices. Check them out today. Anyway, that's now going to get us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get your hog holster today. All right, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the CNN debate. Well, obviously we know why they are. We know why she has Mr. Walz coming to the debate with her. This headline is from our good friends over at the Babylon Bee. Fake news that you can trust. Strong, capable woman asks man to come with her to job interview in case they ask any hard questions. Wow. That's pretty serious. And just so you know, we do have some funny thoughts of our own here. So I had sent out this tweet first thing in the morning when I saw the Facebook message, and this is the top 5 reasons Tim Walz is joining Kamala Harris on her first interview as the presidential nominee. Number 1, CNN can be kind of scary. She needs a man to hold her hand. Number 2, Harris has a track record of failing interviews. Her campaign doesn't trust her alone. Number 3, who else will mansplain her left-wing policies? Number 4, let's face it, she's not taken seriously without an old man by her side. And I want you to think about this. Willie Brown, Joe Biden. I mean, she had no political career at all before Willie Brown. Before Joe Biden took her as his vice presidential nominee, she had like a 0.0 rating in the polls. She had to drop out of the 2020 presidential race, and then all of a sudden became a serious candidate when she became vice president. And then, well, let's look at Walz. I mean, anyway. Anyway, the funny part about this one is he looks a lot older than she does, but he's only like 6 months older than Harris. Anyway, and then finally, Walz will make sure that CNN's men's rooms have tampons. There you go. So, all right. So that's it on the debate. In terms of where she stands on policies, and which is going to also make it very difficult. Once again, coming from our friends over at the Babylon Bee, Kamala policy page now just redirects to Trump's website. Because pretty much when she's running, all she says is, I'm here to stop Trump. And that's really all she's got going for her. Now, it may be if she did some things like Donald Trump, maybe if she decided to actually take some stands on some things that people care about, like, I don't know, the pullout of Afghanistan, and actually took a position, because for those of you who don't know, the Harris-Biden administration did nothing to reach out to the families, except for what the Babylon Bee reported this week. Says here, Kamala solemnly places joy sticker on tomb of Marine killed in Afghanistan. And that's pretty much the sum total of her policies. Nothing really substantive, nothing really there, just empty platitudes. Anyway. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of today's program. But before we go, got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Hitman Industries. Just go to hitmanindustries.net. Get rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you today. You got the California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, got to join CRA. And then you got a Hog Holsters, HAWG Holsters, helping Americans wear guns at hogholsters.com. Then the place to go for all things tactical. In fact, you'll find all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. And that is going to be the end of today's program. We very much, as usual, appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. And if you get a chance, make sure to send a few downrange. We'll holler at you later.